a vital tool in the fight against crime. We bring you the best and worst of what they capture.
Take him out, please. Take him out.
Tonight, big vehicles spell big trouble. It's off-roaders on Police, Camera, Action. Coming up, four-wheel madness, ploughing the roads in a Chelsea tractor, and big trouble on small roads.
This pursuit is so dangerous. Take him out.
No other style of car in history has stirred up quite so much controversy. I'm talking about 4x4s. Despite being designed as off-roaders, these cars have become a must-have accessory for the urban elite. The rich and famous flock to buy them, believing they're safer than ordinary cars. And many are, if you're belted up inside one. But if you're outside and hit by a 4x4, it is a very different story. A greater danger to pedestrians and other motorists, higher CO2 emissions than the average car, and an oversized road presence. No wonder these cars are ridiculed as Chelsea tractors. Adrian Simpson's out exploring just why these cars stir up such mixed feelings.
4x4s are basically designed to make light work of any obstacle in front of them, even if the obstacle is created by a 4x4 driver not watching the road.
Still on.
In this classic from the Police Camera Action archives, a man is far too busy on his phone.
Oh, yes.
He's forced to go off-road. It's just sheer luck that there was no one on the pavement. And you may remember this driver, who seems happy to push his massive Mitsubishi, complete with bull bars, a little too close to this South Yorkshire police car, while reading a map. In cars this big, even small mistakes can cause havoc. But when someone is intentionally throwing their weight around in an off-roader, it can be deadly. That's exactly why the Greater Manchester Police's Tactical Vehicle Crime Unit are tracking this stolen 4x4 at a distance with an unmarked car. The last thing they want is for the driver to speed away because they'll have a seriously difficult time stopping him if he does. But before reaching home, he spots them. The suspects try and leave their pursuers in a cloud of dust by taking the car down an unpaved track. But their off-road skills aren't up to much. They nearly get run over themselves as they try to flee on foot. All three narrowly escape injury, but the driver couldn't escape the police or an antisocial behaviour order.
4x4s were first developed before the First World War to get troops across difficult terrain. And then, with the introduction of the Jeep, they became popular with armies the world over. They were first sold to the public in the late 1940s and very quickly became the vehicle of choice for farmers and landowners. There are now over 1 million of them on our roads. Drivers say they like them because they get a better view of the road and occupants can be safer in a crash. So why do 4x4s have such a bad reputation on the road?
Mainly it's not the cars that are the problem, it's the way they're driven. Watch out for the Land Rover coming the other way and you'll see why. The driver is on his phone. That's just what the Cambridgeshire police saw, and they promptly turned around to remind the driver it's illegal. A recent study published in the British Medical Journal suggested that 4x4 drivers are 4 times more likely to be on their phones than other drivers, possibly because they feel safer taking that risk. Industry bodies claim that's a huge leap in logic, but if the police catch a driver doing it, the only logical thing for them to do is issue a fixed penalty. Never mind Chelsea tractors, the Range Rover up ahead is a Gloucestershire tractor. The driver is using his powerful engine to tow the car behind, but neither tower nor towee are working well together. The man in the Range Rover should have made it clear that he's the one in front, because as they push 60 miles an hour, the man behind gets a little ahead of himself and looks like he's about to overtake his tow. In any case, Both of them are going way too fast. The speed limit for a tractor-trailer combination like this is 60 miles per hour. Seeing a roundabout ahead, the Gloucestershire police step in, fearing the two might take different exits. Both were fined for driving without due care and attention. All the things that make four-wheel drive so attractive to the ordinary motorist make them doubly attractive to criminals. In Greater Manchester, PC's Paul Fletcher and Alan Stone have seen 4x4 thefts becoming all too common.
We had a 4x4 Discovery nicked from Prestwich by a burglary the other night, which we're getting quite a few targeted at the moment for ram raids, and they can put these little cash machines in the back. They pose a bit of a problem for us because if one of them reverses into us, we're going to know about it. So the ideal thing is to find it parked up. They tend to be quite cute and just park them up in blocks of flats and things like that where they don't stand out. So we'll just work our way through gradually and see if we can find it.
A quick look in a known hiding place turns up the ram raider's weapon of choice, a large off-roader.
Typical black Prestwich. Oh, let's left the office. Flex 2 teams. I found the Discovery from Prestwich. It's not moved, it's got nicks, it's got rust on the wheels. You love me.
Knowing the damage a criminal can cause in a car like this, Fletch and Stoney would much rather arrest a thief on his own 2 feet than in someone else's four-wheel drive. So they decide to take the car out of the equation altogether.
Watch your fingers and thumbs.
All right.
Last year, Greater Manchester Police recovered £8 million worth of stolen vehicles. This expensive discovery will make a significant addition to this year's total.
It's like them who go around Tesco's and do your shopping for you, isn't it? Yeah, I have a Land Rover Discovery, an Audi TT.
After a full forensic examination to collect evidence of the person who stole it, the Discovery will be reunited with its owner.
A recent survey found that 4x4s in a collision are twice as likely to kill a pedestrian, and that's because of the height at the front. The pedestrian is much more likely to get hit in the head and the chest than in the legs, and it's not a problem confined to the UK. In America, their US counterparts, the SUV or sports utility vehicles, were found 6 times as likely to kill the occupants of the other car involved in the crash than if it had been hit by a normal car.
That's why American police are trying to bring this stolen SUV in Ohio to a stop as quickly as possible. The thief took it straight off someone's driveway after robbing the owner's house and leaving her tied up. He's also stolen the household shotgun. Police have already blown the car's tyres with a stinger, and the driver is running on one metal rim, but the only effect so far is to make this pursuit even more dangerous. It seems that when a criminal wants to use a 4x4 as a deadly weapon, the police have little power to prevent him. And this driver in particular is not going to let anyone stand between him and a clean getaway. Suddenly one of the front tyres flies clean off. Then the other one goes, and the driver is now running on one flat and 3 rims. It's incredible that this car is still going. This suspect doesn't seem to care if he kills someone. As he knocks another innocent motorist into a concrete barrier, he loses what little rubber he has left. The police can only try to stay on his tail as he reaches 93 miles an hour. With nothing but bare metal between him and the road, the criminal becomes ever more desperate and embarks on an astonishing rampage. Colliding with a third, then a fourth, then a 5th car before he finally makes it across the state line into Kentucky. Just as he is almost home, the engine at last gives out. Having endangered so many other lives, the driver decides not to risk his own. Of course, this could be just another ploy from an armed and very dangerous criminal, so the police don't take any chances and make sure the man is well covered before moving in for an arrest. Despite the carnage he caused, no one was seriously hurt. Coming up, a car thief gets bullish. A crook gives police a smashing time. And an SUV heads off-road. Coming up, the deadly cocktail of drugs and bull bars.
Very, very, very lucky that someone's not been seriously injured.
The off-road driver on track for prison.
Get another traffic car past.
And a terrifying way to go off-road. Four-wheel drives are designed to get you down those rough country trails, but too many drivers, like this one caught on camera by the Bedfordshire police, use that power to rough it on the roads. Or they use their 3-litre engines to overtake a Dorset police car at over 95 miles an hour. One theory is that because some 4x4s are safer for the occupants, their drivers take more risks on the road. An insurance company recently found that off-roader ownership by women with children has more than quadrupled in the last 10 years. These women were undoubtedly looking for the safest way to transport their kids. But no one on the road is safe at speeds touching 100 miles an hour, and the police reminded the driver of this fact with a £60 fine and 3 penalty points. And yet, the perception that your SUV will protect you in an accident is not entirely unfounded. Police in Michigan discovered this while out on a routine patrol. Keep your eye on the black 4x4 in front. She's driving along safely when someone entering the freeway from the right causes an unexpected chain reaction. This Ford Explorer rolled 9 times before landing back on its wheels in a water-filled ditch. And incredibly, the driver survived with only a broken thumb and ribs. The driver in the middle lane, who sped off after causing this accident, was eventually traced and sent to jail for 2 days. This accident sparked a national campaign in the USA to improve vehicle safety, and as a result, from 2012, all new cars sold in the States will be fitted with technology that can prevent a horrific spin-out like this.
One of the big problems with the 4x4s are these, bull bars. If you're hit by a car with these on the front, it's likely to result in serious injury. In fact, so big is the problem that in May 2007 there was new European road safety legislation introduced to reduce the number of deaths and serious injuries caused by 4x4 vehicles with bull bars on the front. Now, the EU law makes the sale of these bull bars illegal. You could face 2 months in prison or up to a 20 grand fine. You can, however, buy these. They're called frontal protection systems. Now, these not only protect the car, but make it up to 50 times less likely to cause serious injury to a pedestrian in a collision.
The Greater Manchester Police catch a thief in the act of stealing a 4x4 armed with the deadly bull bars. They try to corner him, but he has no intention of coming quietly. Fletch is called to assist the pursuit.
I'm on my way.
While he rushes to the scene, the car thief tries to shake off his pursuers by heading off-road.
Oh, come on, move, come on, put your foot down.
He's turned into a crowded shopping centre. It looks like he's cornered, but he desperately tries to escape by ramming the bollards. The police driver bravely tries to drag the youth out of the 4x4, but one officer on foot is no match for a car like this, being driven in such a lethal manner.
He's pursuing his vehicle now. It's too dangerous.
I think they've called the pursuit off the driver. He's behind it, it's too dangerous. And that's one of our most experienced pursuit drivers as well, so it must be bad if he's calling it off.
It's a crash there.
The vehicle's crashed now. He's out on foot.
I can't move my leg!
Shut up.
My leg! It was him!
You all right, John?
Never mind me.
The car's crashed around the back, and what he's done is climbed onto the roof at the top here. So that's obviously when we've arrived, and he's being dragged off the roof. See, he's sweating like hell, so he's obviously on some sort of... he's on something, I would say, anyway.
A quick survey reveals just how much damage an out-of-control driver can cause with a set of bull bars.
Just thank God somebody was still in front of it. It's come through the back and ploughed through the barrier, and then up in front of the all the shutters here. You can see how they've originally got the car, whereas just as crude as getting a screwdriver or a chisel and just bashing the passenger door lock in. To bypass the ignition of the car, they've ripped all the dashboard off. It's the old-fashioned way of stealing a car. So I've been lucky, really, but he wanted to get away at all costs. But look at it, how many people are knocking about, kids and that walking through, and he's come straight through a shopping precinct. Very, very, very lucky that someone's not been seriously injured.
The driver was found to be high on a cocktail of cocaine and opiates. He pleaded guilty to aggravated vehicle theft. This joyrider in Cheltenham town centre shows why 4x4s and criminals are such a nightmare combination for police. The serial car thief behind the wheel has no qualms about charging through a pedestrian shopping street before heading into the one-way system the wrong way. He's only been out of prison for a few weeks since going down for the last car he stole, and for that theft he was disqualified for 5 years. But old habits clearly die hard. After trying to take his pickup truck down a cycle lane, he suddenly stops to demonstrate how dangerous he really can be. Then, just for good measure, he takes another lap of the same street the wrong way. But each successive move is only making things worse. When the law finally does catch up with him, after 16 more miles, he goes right back where he started. Prison for 16 more months, and he's disqualified for another 2 years.
Off-roaders are now status symbols, high-end high-street fashion accessories whose off-road capabilities mean little or nothing to the people who own them. But it's a very different story when it comes to the police. Pete, what do you use your off-roaders for?
Well, basically, they're used as a general-purpose vehicle. The majority of the time, they're used on general motorway patrol. Such things like RTC collisions, where they can be used for towing crash cars out of their way. They're used as command vehicles at sporting events and major concerts and public disorder situations because of the size and presence. And in the serious flooding within South Yorkshire, they've been used in the flood zones to go where other vehicles can't go, basically.
So what is it about off-roaders that makes them particularly well suited to those tasks?
Because it's just a general all-purpose vehicle that can be self-contained and go out and work without coming back to base for 8 hours at a time in varying road traffic and weather conditions.
So there you go, the police using off-roaders to their full capacity, unlike these people who are just using them to cause havoc.
XL499 on scene.
The Bedfordshire police are in pursuit of a 14-year-old who's stolen a 4x4 that belongs to his dad.
30-31-420, Gary, are we going in the direction of this lad's home? No, we've gone well past it.
He's under a curfew because he's on bail and due in court in the morning, but late at night he decided he'd rather not show up.
Is he under the influence of tablets or something else? Not believed to be under the influence of anything, just the fact that he's breaching his curfew.
Knowing how these things tend to escalate, the police tried to stop the car early on by blowing its tyres, but it's only slowed the driver down. The aerial infrared camera sees the white-hot trail the boy is leaving as he continues to run on flats.
Traffic units, can you start moving up, We're going to see if we can carry out a containment on this person. If you can get in front, Mark, we'll take the rear. The 1331 is refusing to let us come past. He obviously doesn't want to stop.
As we've been seeing, powerful off-roaders and dangerous drivers don't mix, so the police have to do everything they can to stop this young runaway before he reaches the main road and other road users.
30-31 falling, all units, the rear offside tyre is about to fall off, so just beware of falling debris. all units be aware tyre is off. He's now running on 3 tyres and a rim.
Despite showering sparks in his wake, the teenager presses on. But seizing the moment, one police driver gets ahead to try and bring him to his senses and a safe stop.
Traffic cars move up for a single road containment. 768, they're trying the containment now, vehicle swerving. Try and get another traffic car past,
But he's having none of it, and another driver tries to get in front to create a rolling roadblock.
Yeah, he's gone round the containment, VA.
Even with only 3 working wheels, this 4x4 still manages to go off-road, and the police are back to square one. They decide that nothing short of an accident will stop this pursuit, and to prevent members of the public being killed, they take a calculated risk by creating one themselves.
This pursuit is so dangerous, the only way to stop it is by means of tactical contact. Come up and take him out, please. We cannot allow this to continue in the manner he's driving. Take him out.
With remarkable skill, a police driver sends the car into a ditch without hurting anyone.
Please now stop, now stop.
But the boy fights on, and police are forced to break the windows to get him out of the car and into custody.
768, male detained, over. 68, thank you.
The young man made his court date and was sentenced to 9 months in a young offenders institution. So if you own a 4x4, drive it carefully and look after it, because in the wrong hands, it can be the deadliest of weapons.
The motor industry admits that 4x4s are a sensitive issue, but they insist every driver has a right to choose a car that suits them best. They also point out that 3/4 of 4x4s in the UK use diesel, which have better fuel consumption and lower CO2 emissions than equivalent petrol models. As for the safety problems, they say they're trying to address these by working with the EU on the recent bull bar regulations, for example, and by investing millions of pounds to improve vehicle design. So the Chelsea tractor may yet become unhitched from the bad reputation it tows around our city streets. And that's it from Police Camera Action. So until next time, let's be careful out there.
And there's more police camera action tomorrow night at 7 when we take a look at the charming little yellow box we all love to hate. Find out exactly what lengths some drivers will go to avoid getting caught by the dreaded speed camera. After the break, some ultimate police chases.